the Brazilian national team dancing on Caitlin Clark logo at Carver Arena. Man, a lot of people had mixed reviews about it. Well, it looked like that wasn't the only clip because the entire team got in on the action, bro. Got in on the jumping on Caitlin Clark logo, stomping on it, dancing on it, shooting from it. Oh, yeah, man, they had a mighty good time at Carver Arena, dog. Now, if you guys don't know, today is the day Caitlin Clark will make her return back in Iowa City to play at that very same arena, man. She broke that scoring record at. And I'm telling you right now, them doing this is very bad.
Clark in transition. Clark, pull up three. You bet!
When Brazil's attempt to roast Caitlin Clark backfired spectacularly, it was instant karma. They poked the bear, and the Indiana Fever responded with overwhelming force, dominating the game as if it were a simple warm-up. This wasn't just basketball. It was a comedic roast turned revenge story on the court. The trash talk quickly turned into a trash performance for Brazil, as Clark and the Fever brought the intensity and left Brazil burned by their own words.
Oh boy, did that feel good. Did that feel good from Caitlin Clark opening up the game, pull-up three, bang, to the logo three to close the third quarter, walking off to a standing ovation. Caitlin Clark pulling up from 36 feet out. From start to finish, there was never a doubt in our mind. There was never a time where we even thought to ourselves, is this game going to be close? Indiana comes out, 8-0 run, close out the first quarter, close out the second quarter, close out the third quarter, sit our starters in the fourth quarter, and by the time it's all said and done, the Indiana Fever score more than double the Brazilian national team. Caitlin Clark.
Brazil, brimming with overconfidence, arrived assuming an easy win against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. They strutted in, radiating a swagger that felt more like a photo shoot than a serious game. Their arrogance, however, was misplaced. They clearly underestimated Clark, a player for whom triple-doubles are practically routine. Brazil's initial bravado quickly faded when faced with the reality of her skill, realizing their assumption of dominance was far off the mark. If you support Caitlin Clark, subscribe our channel and comment "CC is the GOAT" down below.
The Indiana Fever just utterly demolished Brazil in their first preseason game. Clark in her second WNBA season, and she did not disappoint. She was raining threes. Her handle looked tighter than ever. Her vision was on point, and she brought this energy, and she brought the crowd, and everything was just electric because she was on the court.
Brazil's arrival was marked by an air of unwarranted confidence, a display more akin to a pregame show than serious competition. They seemed to envision a triumphant narrative, perhaps a Disney-esque comeback story against the odds. However, the game quickly revealed a different reality. Their play was marred by mistakes and turnovers, a chaotic performance that felt less like an inspirational film and more like a disorienting, unpredictable movie where they were quickly overwhelmed. Their initial swagger dissolved as the game unfolded, highlighting their underestimation of the challenge.
Today, guys, as soon as the clock started, okay, pretty much, right? Caitlin Clark scores the first points of the game, and she gave us her classic three-pointer, okay, behind that the third-point arch line. And then after that,
Taunting Caitlin Clark proved to be a remarkably poor strategic choice for Brazil. Sports history offers a clear lesson. Provoking elite athletes rarely ends favorably for the instigators. Consider the many defenders who, over the years, attempted to rattle Michael Jordan with taunts, only to become footnotes in highlight reels showcasing his unstoppable dominance. Brazil, however, seemed to disregard this fundamental truth. Their sneering and smirking in Clark's direction provided her with precisely the kind of competitive fuel she thrives on. Far from disrupting her game, their actions likely intensified her focus and determination, essentially handing her the motivation she needed to deliver a powerful performance.
Attempts at making Caitlin Clark's iconic shot.
oh, too much.
And they look bad doing it, bro.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe. Brazil treated Caitlin Clark as just another opponent, seemingly unaware she was a force of nature. They threw shade, and in return received a devastating defeat. Clark didn't just play, she delivered a masterclass. She dominated the game, showcasing her exceptional skills with ease. It was a clinic in basketball, a demonstration of her elite talent that left no doubt about her capabilities. Brazil's attempt to rattle her only resulted in a comprehensive and humbling loss.
108-44, Caitlin Clark. Did she look rusty? I don't know. 16.6 rebounds, 5 assists, plus 42, plus minus in only 19 minutes of hoops. Caitlin Clark hoops are back. She looked good, folks. She looked good.
The Indiana Fever's strategy was simple: unleash Clark and let her dominate. Brazil's defense, however, was utterly ineffective, resembling a melted popsicle in its lack of structure. Guarding Clark proved impossible, a tragically hilarious spectacle akin to chasing smoke with a butterfly net. One Brazilian player's ill-advised smirk after a lucky shot was met with swift and brutal retribution. Clark calmly responded by sinking a deep three-piercer, a shot so far out it seemed to defy physics. This moment of instant karma was a stark reminder of the consequences of underestimating Clark. The universe, it seemed, was in express delivery mode that day, ensuring that Brazil's taunts were met with an immediate and overwhelming response. Their defensive efforts were futile against Clark's relentless attack, highlighting the vast gulf in talent and execution between the two teams. The game became a clear demonstration of Clark's ability to punish even the slightest sign of disrespect.
Honestly, I didn't plan to shoot that logo three. I know coming into the game, everybody wanted me to shoot one from there. But Steph was like, was supposed to come out at the end of the third, so she's like, give a foul, give a foul, give a foul. And then it was 30 seconds on the clock, which like between 30 to 33, that's like your 2-for-1 range where you have to get one up. So I saw 30 as we're inbounding the ball, which probably is inbounding the ball at 30, probably a little low. But I was like, why not? Might as well launch one, and it went in, and then Steph used the timeout to get me out. But yeah, that was pretty fun. And
Brazil's attempt at a full corner press was endearingly futile. It resembled a chaotic chase after a pigeon rather than a strategic defense. Clark, unfazed, effortlessly glided past defenders, at times using them as props for added flair. She seemed almost bored, adding extra difficulty for her own amusement. The Fever bench, meanwhile, was a spectacle of unadulterated joy. Their reactions to Clark's shots were theatrical, resembling Shakespearean dramas. One player nearly fainted from excitement while another waved a shoe in celebration. When a bench reacts with such fervent enthusiasm to every score, it transcends mere dominance. This level of excitement from her teammates underscored the profound impact Clark had on the game and the sheer delight they took in witnessing her brilliance. It was a testament to her ability to not only dominate but also to inspire such fervent reactions.
The logo threes, I know this is an exhibition, but those logo threes beyond the logo threes for Caitlin seemed like prime examples of you and her teammates kind of letting Caitlin be Caitlin, so to speak. How do you balance that? And did it start like that, or did you kind of have to get off the reins a little bit, for lack of a better term?
I've been watching her do it for 5 years really. So that's just who she is. It's what she does. I mean, nobody tells Steph Curry not to take good shots, right? But I do think that, sometimes there are time and score situations. Sometimes there are, we've just had 3 or 4 empty possessions. So really understanding the right times, understanding the moments. She knew she was coming out of the game, so she was going to take that logo 3. So it was, it was a good momentum builder, and of course what everybody wants to see from Caitlin, especially in this arena.
Brazil's coach displayed palpable dismay, his face a mask of realization that their strategy was utterly failing. Their game plan dissolved like a wet tortilla, despite frantic attempts to find answers in timeouts and whiteboard scribbles. No mathematical equation could negate Clark's devastating three-pointers. The only shape that mattered was the circle of the hoop, through which Clark repeatedly sent the ball. The true humor emerged post-game, as Brazil attempted damage control, labeling the debacle a learning opportunity. This international language of spin was transparent. After being dominated on live television, with their sole highlight being on the receiving end of a crossover, suddenly the narrative shifted to growth and development. This attempt to reframe the crushing defeat felt as disingenuous as calling the Titanic a mere unscheduled swim. The reality was a stark, undeniable defeat, and the post-game rhetoric did little to mask it.
I know they said on the broadcast it looked like she doesn't have like the same burst that she used to have. She got by the defenders fairly easily in my estimation. She got by the other team's players fairly easy in my estimation. She moved pretty quickly in my estimation. If that's a step back with some tightness, what are we going to look like when we don't even have anything lingering in our legs at all? When we don't have to go onto the bike just to keep ourselves loose at all? What is that really going to look like? Caitlin Clark picking up right where she left off. If there was any question, yes, she's like that.
Some Brazilian fans downplayed the loss, claiming it was just an exhibition. This is akin to denying a fight happened because it wasn't in a ring. A defeat is a defeat, trophy or not. Clark wasn't just stat petting, she was engaged in psychological warfare, delivering stat-back jumpers with a smile. Brazil's offense was pure slapstick. Their attempts to score resembled typing, with oven mitts, missed layups, airballed shots, and passes to unseen teammates. It was less team basketball and more a chaotic group dance. There were moments the shot clock expired and the team looked genuinely surprised, as if time itself had slipped their minds. Their offensive struggles highlighted the vast chasm in skill and execution between the two teams, making the exhibition feel less like a contest and more like a one-sided demonstration of dominance.
As the superstar backcourt, everybody on the Fever was cooking today. Look, you had Lexi Hole raining threes. You had Sophie Cunningham coming with the energy and the effort that we are becoming accustomed to seeing from her. We saw Natasha Howard and Aaliyah Boston be paint beasts down there. They manned it down there. And you also saw Michaela Timpson. She had 9 points. She looked really good. She looks like a player.
Clark, meanwhile, was a whirlwind of offensive innovation, leaving defenders questioning their career paths. Her no-look passes were dazzling, her crossovers so sharp they warranted apologies, and her shots from such extreme range they rivaled NASA's reach. Each successful basket felt like a subtle jab, a silent, "Remember that taunt? This is your consequence." The crowd devoured every moment, treating Brazil as the main course of a Thanksgiving feast. Brazil's initial trash talk evaporated, replaced by a stunned silence, as if the power had been out. They arrived with swagger and departed looking like they were auditioning for a silent film. Post-game interviews were a predictable chorus of cliches. "We need to regroup. We underestimated them." And the ever-present, "We didn't execute." The real translation? "We poked a bear armed with a flamethrower." To be fair, not every Brazilian player was ineffective. Some were simply caught in the maelstrom orchestrated by Clark and her team. It's unfair to blame a candle for being extinguished by a tsunami. One hapless defender attempting to guard Clark at the three-man line was left so far behind, she likely needed Google Maps to find her way back and locate her ankles. The disparity in talent and execution was so vast it overwhelmed individual efforts.
But all in all, Caitlin Clark with a plus 42. She played 18 minutes. She played 18 minutes and was plus 42. Plus 42. 42 in 18 minutes. And there was a stage where it was her with all the rookies and she was still just carrying them. She got 2 assists to, I think, to an Yvonne Ejim. 1 foul, 3 turnovers to 5 assists. And again, the turnovers were just trying mad stuff. Like, it is what it is. Don't really care that much. But in 18 minutes, she had 16, 6, and 5. Like, that's so impressive on 60% shooting and 4 of 6 from 3.
Clark, meanwhile, was a whirlwind of offensive innovation, leaving defenders questioning their career paths. Her no-look passes were dazzling, her crossovers so sharp they warranted apologies, and her shots from such extreme range they rivaled NASA's reach. Each successful basket felt like a subtle jab, a silent, "Remember that taunt? This is your consequence." The crowd devoured every moment, treating Brazil as the main course of a Thanksgiving feast. Brazil's initial trash talk evaporated, replaced by a stunned silence, as if the power had been out. They arrived with swagger and departed looking like they were auditioning for a silent film. Post-game interviews were a predictable chorus of cliches. "We need to regroup. We underestimated them." And the ever-present, "We didn't execute." The real translation, "We poked a bear armed with a flamethrower." To be fair, not every Brazilian player was ineffective. Some were simply caught in the maelstrom orchestrated by Clark and her team. It's unfair to blame a candle for being extinguished by a tsunami. One hapless defender attempting to guard Clark at the 3-mink line was left so far behind, she likely needed Google Maps to find her way back and locate her ankles. The disparity in talent and execution was so vast, it overwhelmed individual efforts.
Was moving the ball around a lot. The offense looked way better today against Brazil than it did against the Mystics for obvious reasons. If this team, can play anything close to this is a much improved, very dangerous team. It is.
Adding insult to injury, the Fevery's social media team dropped a post-game highlight reel so savage, it likely caused international incidents. Slow-mashing clips of Clark's effortless threes, defenders flailing wildly, and the scoreboard relentlessly mocking Brazil with a giant L. Brazil's official account went dark for hours, possibly in a digital witness protection program. But this wasn't just a game, it was a cultural moment. A televised clinic in humility, a stark reminder of the dangers of hubris, and a global case study in what not to do when facing a legend. This transcended the final score. It was about respect, or the shocking lack thereof. You don't poke the bear, and you definitely don't taunt the player who's been redefining the game since before your bench warmers knew what a pick and roll was.
Caitlin Clark got to cooking right out the gate. You see her bring it up the court, come off this double screen action involving Natasha Howard and Aaliyah Boston. She is this falling away three-point shot, dude. That is super difficult. We have become accustomed to shots like this from Caitlin Clark, but you have to understand that no other player in the WNBA is doing this, consistently.
You don't disrespect the court's queen when her stats seem otherworldly. You don't provoke the unstoppable force with a deadly step back, a long memory, and a substantial chip on her shoulder. You don't challenge Caitlin Clark unless you're ready for a painful lesson. And she's the one delivering the failing grades. The Fever departed the court beaming, as if they'd achieved the impossible. Brazil, conversely, retreated like disoriented tourists who'd stumbled into a dangerous situation, realizing too late they were completely outmatched. The message was undeniable and brutally clear. Talk trash, face the consequences. This wasn't merely a game. It was a masterclass in utter humiliation. Even with legendary Brazilian athletes, the outcome would have remained unchanged. The sheer dominance displayed was a stark reminder that some players operate on a different plane, and challenging them without the requisite skill is an exercise in futility. It was a performance that will be dissected and discussed for years to come, a cautionary tale for any team considering underestimating the power of a focused and motivated superstar.
Every single one of her threes were from a minimum of like 28 feet. None of them were catch and shoot threes. She was being face guarded in an exhibition game. They were face guarding her. So we saw a few days ago with Paige in preseason, they're leaving her open. People are like, oh, why are they going to guard her hard in preseason? She was being face guarded. Every time she didn't have the ball, they were denying her. They were blitzing her off screens in an exhibition. This isn't even preseason. This was a literal exhibition game. It did not matter. They were playing a national team. It was an exhibition game, and they were blitzing her. And she still came out in 18 minutes with 16, 6, and 5 on 60%.
With a dream team of LeBron, Taurasi, Jordan in his prime, and Steph Curry, plus a motivational boost from Ted Lasso, Clark would have still casually drained a logo three and given the camera a knowing wink. This wasn't just a win. It was a masterclass in absolute dominance, a highlight reel wrapped in pure swagger. The Fever didn't simply defeat Brazil. They transformed their hopes into a blooper reel for the ages. It was glorious, it was savage, and it served as an unmistakable warning. Disrespect this squad and you're going down in flames. So the next time a team even entertains the thought of taunting Caitlin Clark, they'd be wise to schedule a mandatory team meeting beforehand. Bring snacks, perhaps dim the lights, and prepare a PowerPoint titled, How Not to Become a Global Laughingstock. Slide 1, do not poke the sniper. Slide 2, do not trash talk someone capable of dropping 30 points while quoting Shakespeare and solving a Rubik's Cube. Slide 3, just smile, nod, compliment her sneakers, and pray she takes it easy.
today?
First and foremost, that everybody was ready to go when their number was called. That is so important in this league to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Now, there are, and especially with our team, we're going to have quality depth at every position. And there are going to be some games where these women deserve to play and they're not going to play. There's going to be some games where they're in and out of rotation and they have to stay ready because when their number is called, they've got to be able to impact the game in a positive way. And so, number one, everybody was ready to go. Everybody impacted the game.
Brazil's loss wasn't just a defeat, it was a live-streamed exhibition in humility. They arrived all smiles and swagger, treating it like a casual pre-game warm-up. They departed looking utterly devastated, as though flattened by a basketball phenom with an incredible memory and pinpoint accuracy. The Fever entered with quiet self-assurance and exited having effectively ended an Olympic bid. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, came in with a history, a purpose, and a drive for revenge. She left with Brazil's pride tucked away like a souvenir. This wasn't just about style, it was about flawless execution with very public ramifications. Clark is more than a scorer. She's a force of nature on the court, a guaranteed headline, a statistical powerhouse. Brazil wasn't simply outplayed. They were analyzed, picked apart, and publicly humiliated for the world to see. She hit 3 moaners with effortless ease, passed with almost supernatural skill, and stared down opponents, dissecting their every move and finding weaknesses everywhere.
Game during the Brazilian national team, they were ready, okay? They were on go. The final score, guys, the game concluded with Indiana Fever having 108 points. The Brazil national team only had 44 points. They only had 44 points. They left them in the dust in the first quarter, okay? They just kept getting further and further away from the glory and the light and love of God.
This wasn't just a game. It was a performance. It was a masterclass in consequence, a live demonstration of the pitfalls of hubris. The clear takeaway? Attempting to provoke Caitlin Clark is a risky strategy that requires a swift exit plan, perhaps even international travel. So perhaps future opponents should forego the pregame theatrics. Maybe replace the taunts with a respectful quiet. Or perhaps just bring a white flag. Because when Caitlin Clark steps onto the court, she's not just participating. She's crafting a highlight reel. And the goal is to avoid being the unwilling star of the posterization. If you're a Caitlin Clark fan, drop a CC in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.